Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever it is in the world you are streaming. Here on Twitter, as well as those of you on the spillover room of YouTube. 9:32 p.m. Pacific time, May 8th, 2026. Game threes in the books. Allow you guys a couple of moments to join the chat tonight. Hope everyone is having a good Friday. I know I'm in a lot better mood than I've been the past couple of days. I wonder why. Be here for your questions. It's a Friday night. I don't want to hear any excuses. All I heard all week when I wasn't live on Monday and Tuesdays, where's Wob? Where's Wob? Well, you better be here now when the stream is live. Can't be one of those people, where's Wob, if you're not here every single time thereafter. So if you're going to ask that question, attendance is mandatory. Victor Wembanyama, fourth players. We just saw the statistic pop up there on Amazon Prime's broadcast. Victor Wembanyama has just become the fourth player in NBA history to put up 35 points, 15-plus rebounds, 5-plus assists. That's not correct. Let's start again, shall we? 35-plus points, 15-plus rebounds, and 5-plus blocks in a single playoff game. He joins Kareem, Hakeem, and Shaq, I would assume. I didn't see the third guy, to be honest, but I think it was Shaq. Anyway, fourth guy in NBA history to do it. He was incredible tonight. Shooting efficiency from the field more than made up for that game one, and they needed every single one of them. All right. Chat, I see you. What's happening? This is why we do these shows. We hit the button as soon as that final buzzer sounds because I've got Erkski in the chat, all caps, I love Wemby. Hello to my goat. What's up, Alex McKindles? What's up, Little Reese? 7-8, I see everybody is here. What's happening? Yep. Well, at least Minnesota took advantage of that first game where Victor Wembanyama sure looked mortal. But now we have to ask the question as to why. Why? So first thing I need to do here is, it's unfortunate that they don't have the advanced analytics up yet, the advanced box scores, because I was curious about his usage tonight. So real quick, Victor Wembanyama. What's up, YouTube chat? I see you guys here too. Be like Berg. What's up, Max? All right. 13 of 18 from the field. That would equate to 72.2%. 10 of 12 from the free throw line, 15 assists, 14 of those defensive. And that's honestly more important than offensive rebounds for this team. Again, I'll explain why in a second. 5-plus blocks. Almost leads the team in plus minus as well. So here is something I would like to propose and get the chat's feedback on. It's going to sound a little funky, but allow me the opportunity to explain. You know how the term has been coined, addition by subtraction? Addition by subtraction. That is certainly not what I'm using to allude to the OG Anunoby situation with New York, but something in particular between the Timberwolves and the Spurs. Because when the Timberwolves were all sorts of banged up and they can barely put 8 guys out there as a single unit, they were forced to play 3 centers concurrently in several different sequences in multiple games. Game 6 against Denver, as well as game 1 against the Spurs, because Anthony Edwards had come back on a minutes restriction. Ayo Dosunmu's obviously been in and out due to his calf injury and injury maintenance. And in the weirdest of ways, I thought Minnesota really found what their biggest advantage is in this series, and it's their size. So if we're just looking on paper here, this lineup that you're looking at with the San Antonio Spurs, look at their starting 5 people: Steph Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Julian Champagnie, and Devin Vassell. Where are their strengths defensively? They don't call him Swipe of the Fox for nothing, right? The foot speed, the anticipation of the passing lanes, the perimeter point of attack defense. They have 4 guys that can switch anything on the perimeter. They can hedge. They don't go into drop coverage. And that's because they know that they have the best safety net in the business, arguably of all time, in Victor Wembanyama behind them. So they can be really aggressive in an NBA playoffs where physicality is enforced a lot less loosely. Physicality is permitted. I'm saying the violations around physicality are enforced a lot less loosely. I just completely fucking butchered that. Let me try that again. Why can't I speak English anymore? Enforcing the rules of physicality. Okay, maybe that did make sense. What I'm trying to say is defenders can get away with a lot more, especially on the perimeters we saw in that first game tonight. So San Antonio ideally wants to send out 4 guys who can lock down the perimeter and funnel them into Victor Wembanyama if needed. But when Minnesota was forced, because they had no one else to go to run that Gobert, Naz Reid, and Julius Randle lineup, it was plus 15 against Denver. It was plus 9 against San Antonio. And we have not seen it since. We have not seen it since Anthony Edwards returns, comes off a minutes restriction, as well as Ayo Dosunmu is playing and siphoning away a lot of those minutes. So they go back to a much more standard rotation of utilizing their 3 big men in staggers as opposed to overlapping. And I'm afraid that Minnesota is losing its biggest advantage, which is their size. I would say they are the New York Knicks of the Western Conference with their 3 7-footers plus Jaden McDaniels. They really, really punished San Antonio for being small in that game 1, and we haven't seen a lineup like that since. So what I propose is playing it again at some point. San Antonio is proving to you with every dribble since that they are better on the perimeter. Despite on paper, I know you got Jaden McDaniels. I know you got Dosunmu. I know you got Ant Edwards. You got these guys who can certainly handle it, but you are playing into the style that San Antonio prefers on the perimeter. Having to watch Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson and even Mitch Johnson contemplate going with the French vanilla lineup where I need Cornette and Wembanyama on the floor at the same time, that completely changes the dynamic of what they want to run offensively with their 4 knockdown jump shooters surrounding Victor. If you have Cornette out there, it changes the tilt of the floor completely. And I have not seen Minnesota run that lineup once, nor assert their physical dominance since game 1. If I'm a Timberwolves fan, I am begging Chris Finch, you don't have to run it the entire game, but give us these little spurts of it because it has yielded results which have been incredibly productive, arguably the most productive lineup possible. And if you force Mitch Johnson to have to change up his rotations as a result because he feels like he's getting beat up on the glass, that's a victory even if the game doesn't result in a win. If you force them to have to transform or pivot their business model to something that they can't do anything about. There's nothing stopping Chris Finch from saying, hey, Gobert, Naz, and Julius Randle, go to the scores table and check in. Jaden McDaniels is practically 7 feet, and then you got Anthony Edwards on the floor. Everyone's a great defender. Do they give away a little spacing? A little at most, because no one's going to be running out there to defend Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert from beyond the arc in volume. But that would really put those San Antonio defenders that are fleet of foot, light armor. They are agile. It is gazelles versus a pride of lions out there. Carter Bryant gave them some decent minutes as well, for sure. All right, chat. Sorry. Hold on. Skip to live. I messed that up. Let me get back to the chat here. Wob is here, says Stefan. Yes, Wob is here. What's up, Sam? Wob, do you remember 2013 when the Knicks were last up 3-0, ending the Garnett-Pierce Celtics? That was Ray Felton, J.R. Smith, Jason Kidd. Did Amari play in that series, or was he hurt? I forget. Tyson Chandler. Yeah, good times. Unfortunately, the Knicks were the 3rd best team in the Eastern Conference those years, the Pacers and the Heat. Jedi Master Roman is asking, hey, Wob, thoughts on Tony Brothers versus Chris Finch as a good boxing match in the All-Star game? I don't know why anyone thinks they're going to change Tony Brothers' mind. That they overturned one, and it had to be the most obvious missed call in the world, by the way, that they overturned one call because Tony Brothers, if it's close, he's sticking with his crew every single time. How dare you? How dare you try and try and tell us that we messed up a call. How dare you challenge us? He's been hard-headed for quite some time. AEAK Kamedov says it's 6:30 a.m. here in Italy. Did you stay up all night and watch these games? I know how difficult it is there in Western and Central Europe to do it. You're a true sicko if you are. What's up, Jish? Says we sleep when we're dead, but for now we talk hoop. It must be a Friday night since we got some locusts in the chat. All of my little locusts are grown up now. They're in the workforce. Jish is working in accounting, if I'm not mistaken. No more late nights studying in college. You got to get up for work in the AM. You, Carly. Oh my God, my poor little locusts. Welcome to your 30s. Wemby Legacy Game says, stop it, Sims. Well, that's how you certainly clap back after what transpired in Game 1. Victor Wembanyama makes some shots, was able to draw a lot of those whistles tonight because there must have been a memo that went out with the referees that they said, stop rewarding, flopping, and embellishing, because they were letting these boys kill each other tonight from the first game in Philadelphia. This is what last year's opening round looked like, to the point that Jaylen Brown told the NBA that we're going to end up fighting each other on the court. That's what you want, and that's where it's headed. Just know, unless you have these referees control the game a little bit more, we're going to fight. And the type of physicality that they were playing with in both of these, if you're at the wrong pickup court, if you're at Pan Pacific Park in Hollywood or Poinsettia or Venice Beach, you play like that, the guy that you're guarding is going to disappear for 2 minutes and go to the trunk of his car. And then, needless to say, the game's going to be over very quickly. But Wembanyama drawing a lot of those whistles, he was certainly embellishing contact, but he was up for the challenge, certainly, of seeking it out, engaging with it, and finishing regardless. And when he's got the jumper working, there's not really a whole lot you can do. All you can really do to stop Victor Wembanyama is send out a Julius Randle or Jaden McDaniels to front him, so that the entry pass that he receives is the free throw line extended beyond the three-point arc. If Wemby catches the ball in the middle of the floor at the nail in the free throw line, he's going to take it, put it above his head, and he's either just going to shoot unobstructed because no one in the world can bother him. But he also has full optionality of his Devin Vassell and Julian Champagnie in the corners. So if you strong side help, even in the slightest one step, I'll hit 3/4 fronting Wemby that Julius Randle did during the regular season. We saw J-Dub do it in Oklahoma City in an attempt to... Sorry, I just glitched there for a second. I don't know why. Hopefully I'm back. In an attempt, J-Dub did it. I've seen OG Anunoby do it. That there is a strategy. Aaron Gordon did it when he was healthy for the Denver Nuggets. Like, they don't send Jokic out to guard Wemby. They do that because when De'Aaron Fox tries to dump that pass, if he's going to catch it all the way on the sideline, it's one-dimensional, the things that he has at his disposal. But if it's in the middle of the floor, it's game over. And yes, you saw a lot of that tonight. Every time he receives the ball in the middle of the floor, if you're watching the Spurs play, just be thinking in the back of your head, this possession is now over, because it's the only way we're getting out of this possession without conceding points is if someone misses a wide open shot, because at the very least, it's always going to be wide open. And then you saw the pick and roll back in action tonight with De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama too. So the timing of this is essential when Victor Wembanyama pick and pops, hitting him on the back pedal versus having him stationary and affording the defense an opportunity to recover and close out. If it's going to be a true pick and roll to the rim, we saw a couple of like perfectly timed lobs where Wemby just catches the ball and fucking dunks it in the back of his head or some stupid shit that no one else can do. I want to see Spurs Knicks finals so bad, not only because it's the only way that the Knicks have a chance, but seeing how Mitchell Robinson is the one true big man on the planet that actually has the wingspan, athleticism, and foot speed to take on that assignment without having to try and gimmick the fronting is what I look forward to a lot. But if that pick and roll gets downhill, it's game over. And look how the first possessions of these games have started. A Wembanyama's tip slam in the previous game. Tonight, it's just relentless spamming pick and roll with De'Aaron Fox. And what are you supposed to do about it? It has the same potency of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, but you've got two of the most elite knockdown shooters out of the corner in Vassell and Champagny that you have to stay home on. And for those of you that maybe are not as, how do I say this? For those of you that are watching the NBA maybe a little bit more casually, at least when I was growing up, we were taught if you ever help out of the strong side corner, you have to run at least one suicide next practice. If coach caught you helping out of the strong side corner, you have to go run suicides next. I don't even know if you're allowed to call them suicides anymore. I'm sorry. I don't know what they're called nowadays, but back then they were called suicides. Helping out of the strong side corner. So let's use the Spurs or the Knicks, for example, because this happened in the first possession of the fourth quarter tonight in Philadelphia, where Karl-Anthony Towns puts the ball on the floor. He's, treating someone like a small child. So help comes from the guy who's guarding the opposing player in the corner, but it's the strong side corner and not the weak side corner. This strong side means the same side of the floor. So when you collapse and help, Karl-Anthony Towns just quite simply sends that ball 10 to 15 feet to his right. Deuce McBride steps into a wide open three, which he misses. But because now everyone's out of position and helping, Karl-Anthony Towns gets an offensive rebound. He hits him again, and he ends up making it the second time. Against the San Antonio Spurs, if you help out of the strong side corner against this Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox downhill pick and roll, okay, maybe you will stop Victor Wembanyama somehow at the rim, but now you've got four guys all congested in the paint when Champagny and Vassell are just standing over there waiting for a ball to be passed to them. So you have to stay home at all times, which just creates this spacing for that pick and roll, which if Minnesota can't do it, Oklahoma City can't do it, nobody can do it. Nobody can stop it. How do you think San Antonio beat Oklahoma City so many times? And they have the most elite defense that a lot of people alive right now have seen in their lifetimes. Scotty Kazan says no super chat in YouTube. I don't know what that is. Sorry. Cameron in the YouTube chat said, why don't I think the Knicks have a chance against Oklahoma City? Because of that perimeter defense and how they are able to shut down any sort of dribble penetration from Jalen Brunson or Karl-Anthony Towns. They don't help, like what I just talked about. They have never once helped out of the strong side corner. We've seen Jalen Brunson struggle like he's ever struggled in his career against Cason Wallace, Caruso, Shea. They have so many bodies that can make his life hell trying to get to a spot, and he just doesn't have the size to finish over the top of them. So OKC gets a rebound. They turn that shit into points the other way. We're a terrible matchup for OKC. So if the Knicks end up playing the Thunder in the finals, once again, it's going to be 4-1 OKC. What else? Mon Spring Branch asks, please tell me why the Timberwolves can continue to hold, grab, and abuse Wemby without getting called for fouls. Because first of all, Tony Brothers was officiating the game tonight. He has the most notorious reputation for no blood, no foul prison ball rules. That's your simple answer. So do his crews. Number two, it is very evident that the NBA is wanting physicality. You are not getting calls tonight, the past 24 hours or so. They are letting shit go. So stop flailing. You can get away with grabbing. And I know a lot of the younger generation has grown up like anytime you get touched, it's check ball, foul, foul, foul. But like, you're watching what it was like trying to get to the rim back in the 90s and the 80s. There's fouls all over the place, but the whistles just aren't being blown. It's the simple answer. I know you're looking for something a little bit more creative than that or outside the box, but it's just the truth. They're not calling fouls right now. There's fouls happening every possession. If they were enforcing the rule book as written literally, these games would take 6 hours. Jedi Master Roman says, Ant playing 40 minutes today and was on a 30-minute restriction. This will not end well. Yeah, I'm not in love with that. Not in love with that. I'm not in love with playing Dosunmu either. And what a luxury it is for the Knicks now. You're not going to see OG Anunoby until the conference finals. He's going to get a week and a half to rest that hamstring. We probably won't see OG for the rest of the series unless they Sixers somehow force a game 7. Why would you? Like these soft tissue injuries, the knee injury that Ant was dealing with, hyperextension. Like, thank God he is such an elite premier athlete that he can still go out there and score 12 straight points at the end of the first quarter and look as good as he's ever been. He might be in pain, but he's never going to tell us or show us. Incredible athlete, but man, I saw the movie Friday Night Lights. Bobby Miles was one hell of an athlete too. Carly says the Woody Page message on the board would work better if we could see it instead of you covering it up. Set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. It's my financial advice. Set it and forget it. Someone in the chat, Jish will know what that means. Anyone in finance will know what that means. Set it and forget it. Check in on it in 40 years. This means S&P ETF, 10% of your paycheck, cash dollar average. Check on it in 40 years. Set it and forget it. Everyone's a genius in a bull market, and that's what's going on here in the United States right now. Gerpal24 says the UFO files released and no one cares because we've been seeing Wemby for 2+ years. I saw that too. It's so ridiculous. It's like some firsthand account from the 1960s where he saw someone 4 feet tall get out of a spaceship. Like, man, we're trusting someone without technology. It's always funny how these UFO encounters happen in the middle of the country where like 10 people live. They never happen in Manhattan, New York, like Men in Black. There's a reason why that's fiction. Never happens in Los Angeles. And a flying saucer just never happens to crash in a major city. It's in some field where it's obviously staged. Come on. It's just a bunch of hearsay. Frank in the chat is saying, do any Knicks fans want 2 ticks to game 4? Someone send him a DM if you do. This is why you join the chat. Cameron on the YouTube says VOO if you're, or QQQ. VOO is the ETF you're looking for. That's a Vanguard ETF. 10% of your paycheck. Thank me in 40 years when you're a millionaire. I won't be alive to say you're welcome, but whatever. 7-8 says MSG East was loud tonight. You know why this is funny? Because it should be called MSG East because Joel Embiid said MSG East. It is not East. It is west of Madison Square Garden and it's south. But now it's going to stick. I looked up the longitude. It is not east of Madison Square Garden. So MSG South is, I was debating between Charlotte, DC, and Atlanta. MSG Beach or MSG down the shore is Miami. MSG South will go with Atlanta because there's so many transients. MSG Suburbs is Charlotte. MSG East is now Philly. You catch my drift. MSG Amtrak, we'll call it the TD Garden. Cosa Nostra says we stay awake in France to watch Wemby dominating. Is this Cosa Nostra as big of a cultural moment for France as I made it out to be before the series started? It's Gobert versus Wemby on the biggest stage in sports. I understand it's happening in a country outside of France, but other than Tony Parker, can you name a series or an event bigger for French basketball other than the gold medal match against the United States? Give me an answer and I'll catch up to the comments. The RuboCop says, enjoying the physicality in the Wolves Spurs series. I think it's a good experience for the Spurs. Most certainly. They're getting tough. They are going to need this experience of going up against a team that is throwing them little forearm wings in the back, the way that Naz Reid did to Victor Wembanyama in game 1, because the way that Oklahoma City is allowed to defend right now, you ain't seen nothing yet. They may as well be playing American football out there doing Oklahoma drills. The way that they grab, the way that they do all the shit, but they earn the whistle from the referees, as we discussed last night. They train the referees. And even if they start blowing the whistle, they got 3 hockey shifts of guys that can seamlessly replace each other. Green Farrak says, I think Wob needs less lighting in the room. That can be arranged. Max says, damn, all the locusts are back tonight. Can we get some Endless Sunday music, perhaps? We'll see how the chat does. It's Friday. Is it true that all of the regulars in the chat, you guys are getting older now? It means you have jobs. It means you can't just be staying up till 3 a.m. because you're still in school or you got something else going on. Now you're in the workforce. Now you feel my pain. Jish says, it's honestly refreshing to see them let shit go. Isn't it beautiful? Basketball is beautiful, and not the troll version, but basketball is beautiful when the referees put the whistles in the pockets and they permit this open court, open flow style of play. The players are obviously pissed off because they feel like they're getting fouled and inconvenienced, but the paying customer will tell you that they enjoy this a lot more than micromanaged ball during the regular season and 160 to 140 final scores. Liquor House says moving Julian Champagnie to the starting lineup really opened up the floor in one of the best value contracts in the league. The most valuable currencies in the game today: 3-and-D swingmen, positionless defenders, catch and shoot guys, not 3 or D, but 3-and-D. Those guys, playoff experience and spacing. Like, where would the Detroit Pistons be right now without Duncan Robinson? And he's the only one, really, right? The value of a Duncan Robinson on that team is almost up there with Cade Cunningham. And I say that, I obviously say I'm exaggerating a bit, being hyperbolic, but who the hell would you ever go over the top of a screen to follow off of the ball if Duncan Robinson was not available? Asar Thompson, Ron Holland, Tobias Harris, maybe Karis LeVert, Kevin Herter, but he's been banged up. I'll wait. Jalen Duren? Nope. Danis Jenkins? Yeah, not really. Spacing, man. When you have spacing like the Spurs do, you have to guard Victor Wembanyama with one guy and no appropriate help anywhere. What these teams have done is taken the Celtics' vision and idea, well, that won them a championship, but they have fine-tuned it now to include big men that are floor-stretching fives. Part of the reason why they won that championship is because Kristaps Porzingis. Can you think of a better unicorn center to have in that system than, yes, bless me, thank you, sorry. A better floor-stretching center to have than a Kristaps Porzingis 3-4 years ago before he got so sick he can't even be on the floor. The perfect build of a roster construction in 2026. It's no longer 1 equals point guard, 2 equals shooting guard, 3 equals small forward, so on and so on. The perfect build for a roster in the game of basketball is a lead guard, a scoring guard, 2 3-and-D guys, and a floor stretching 5. And your 3-and-D guys need to be like the Mikal Bridgeses, the Josh Harts, the OG Anunobis. Five Javante Greens out there, right? Who the hell would ever go over the top of a screen? 3-and-D guys are at such a premium right now, and they're going to get so paid. This is part of the reason why Dillon Brooks got paid a lot too. Remember how laughed at the Rockets got, or how much we laughed at the Rockets for that original signing, when they certainly saw the vision of what a true 3-and-D guy that has playoff grit and experience about him, how valuable that is. They set the market with Dillon Brooks. And now these teams are going to be scrambling to overpay true 3-and-D guys that can complement your stars and afford them that spacing to really, really extract all of their potential. I'm the Sin asks, what do you do after you become a millionaire? You invest. You just take that money and you put it into the S&P and you check in on it in 40 years and you live within your means. Please stop watching these YouTube influencers who are like got suddenly rich. Now they're buying cars. You should do it too. Like you guys should be investing your money. Live within your means. And when you determine what those means are, shit becomes so much easier. It's unfortunate that the younger generation is so screwed by college being expensive, college degrees being worthless, influencers who are having them burn through money. They're trying to hit big through it, through crypto, meme coins and shit. All you have to do is take that money you earn, 10% of it, cash dollar average it into an ETF and set it and forget it. You'll be thanking yourself in 45 years when you try and retire. It was my life goal when I was younger. I set a goal. I want to be retired at the age of 40. I want to have enough in the bank to live within my means for the rest of my life at the age of 40. And I like to think I'm near that. Now, $50 million may not be enough for some people, and $50,000 may be enough for others. So, right, whatever your life requires. MSG South is for sure the Verizon Center. Yeah, I remember saying that DC should be, that is a complete invasion. I said this earlier. It's not an invasion anymore. It's a fucking plague. The Knicks fans are a plague. Did you guys see the videos of the concourse? I got to pull this shit up really quickly. The videos of the concourse after the win tonight. Oh, and by the way, look at this dumbass quote. Sorry, you guys are going to have to let me just vent here for a second off topic. You guys got to read this. All right. Joel Embiid was asked about the way tonight's game was officiated and whether or not the officials let more things go tonight. They shot 32 free throws. We had 16. We're not a team that shoots a lot of threes. We attack. We put the ball on the ground. I don't know. I guess it's good when New York wins. So we just got to have that mentality of just not fouling, I guess, and being smart enough to not put ourselves in a position where they're going to take advantage of it. Joel, you guys intentionally fouled Mitchell Robinson for a straight minute. He shot like 8 straight free throws because of your strategy. You can't then go and say they shot more free throws than us tonight. That was the idea. Okay. Where was I? Here we go. Look at this shit. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but the entire arena is taken over. FM fucking bead chants. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is worse than it was 2 years ago when they defiled the Wilt Chamberlain statue. I mean, yeah. That would be an invasion. I'm sorry, I'm just catching up to the bless yous. Johnny and the Locusts are here. If Johnny Football's in attendance, what's up, Johnny? IT the Six says Champagne is the new Fred Van Vliet 2019. Not a bad comp. As good as the first round was, the second round might have 3 out of 4 sweeps. The cream always rises to the top in the end. It certainly does in the NBA. Are we going to do a draft lottery show? No, but I will be doing my annual if this team wins the lottery tweet. We should do that. Hold on. We should do that right now. Why are they doing it Sunday? Why are they doing it on Mother's Day? Okay. Okay. So real quick, I have I have my annual. I wrote it out today. Okay, so if the Wizards win the lottery, this is everyone's reaction. Oh, how cute. If Indiana wins, damn it, Clippers. Again. If Brooklyn wins, rigged. If Utah wins, justice. If Memphis wins, jaw's gone. If Atlanta wins, damn it, Pelicans. If Dallas wins, capital rigged. If Chicago wins, rigged. If Milwaukee wins, the pick goes to Atlanta because of the swap, and the finals alley-oop was worth it. If Golden State wins, rigged with many exclamation points. If OKC wins, we're all doomed. If Miami wins, rigged. If Charlotte wins, rigged. That's how everyone will react. I'll be putting that tweet out on a Sunday. All right. Let me skip to live. Okay. Justice for Malik Beasley wherever he is. I don't know about that one. We'll let the legal process play out. Fun story. I once saw Malik Beasley in the terminal at LAX going to Salt Lake City for All-Star Weekend. He was sitting in the chairs with his PlayStation 5 in his carry-on. He pulled it out, plugged it in, and he had a travel screen too. He was playing PS5 in the terminal. I was pretty impressed. His kids were there too, but it's like, damn, dude, gamer. Chase Move says, also playoff P. Was he serious tonight or is he just gassed? Well, he was serious like in game 2. Philadelphia came out of the gates shooting the lights out. But last time I checked, the game's 48 minutes, and then he went 0 for the field. That Knicks defense right now is so locked in, too. Even without OG, they can get away with a whole bunch of... Now you see why they take their foot off the gas during the regular season so much. Now you see why Knicks fans grow so frustrated with some of these losing streaks, because it's like, we know what you're capable of, and you're not giving us 100% effort. They're probably doing that because they understand, man, we don't really need to do anything until the playoffs. But they're disciplined tonight, with the exception of Cat. They're disciplined tonight, not biting on any of Joel Embiid's bullshit. Because you know he's going to pump fake and drop step, and he's going to rip through, and he's going to look for contact so that he can fall over. The Knicks were grounded. They defended vertically. Mitchell Robinson was so good at keeping him grounded tonight. Mitchell Robinson, after getting into foul trouble in game 1, that's the biggest story here, by the way, because it was talking about what the Knicks didn't have tonight with OG. What they did have was what they did add was the return of Mitchell Robinson, who is now unanimously the best rebounder in the world. I don't think it's even a debate anymore. and how physically daunting he is. Even Joel Embiid can't finish over the top, and he was trying to get him out of the game so bad, so bad. Such a difference when you have to send so many bodies to keep him off the glass. What a luxury it is. Like, I think a lot of these NBA teams are, especially the ones that are left, I think they're actually good at defending individually, enforcing tough shots, right? But the difference between the elite ones and the good ones is every time there's a missed shot, you do not afford the other team a second chance opportunity. You clean the glass. And there's nobody better than the Knicks, with Karl Anthony Towns leading the league in rebounding and Mitchell Robinson out offensive rebounding entire teams this season. The Knicks clean the glass better than anybody. And with Karl Anthony Towns off the floor so much because of foul trouble. And again, a lot of these are fouls. It's not like there was only one ticky-tack foul tonight, but they're on him. He's got to know touching Joel Embiid in the back is going to result in a whistle. Invading landing space is going to result in a whistle. And the one time that you decide to hedge and not go into drop coverage, you can't foul. You can't stick your leg out when you're setting screens. Like, Mitchell Robinson doesn't get ruled for offensive fouls. So with Karl Anthony Towns off the floor, it changes the dynamic defensively for the Knicks, because now their center isn't going into drop coverage every time Tyrese Maxey calls for a pick and roll. We know Cat's going to backpedal and go into drop. That allows someone like Maxey to get around the screen and get an open look of some kind. But with Mitchell Robinson out there, he is a much better individual defender, help defender, and he's fleet of foot. He can close and recover on the perimeter after helping and hedging. So while they lost the offensive creativity and how important Hub is as a Cat, how important Cat is as a hub. I'm telling you, man, I might have dyslexia. Sometimes I just like say things and the sentence is reversed. My brain just does not function correctly. And I don't know what that's a sign of. Hopefully not dementia. But Cat is a hub on offense. On defense, he is put into action on purpose. Mitchell Robinson makes up for that. Now, when Cat is on the floor offensively, it is not a coincidence that all of these Jalen Brunson looks are one-on-one. They are in open space. They are ideal. They look efficient. It's not hero ball offense. Every single time, the nucleus of the Knicks offense, that sphere of influence of Karl Anthony Towns, touches the basketball. He doesn't even need to get the shot up. But if the offense starts through him, how many times tonight do you see him just palm that thing, hold it above his head, and wait for all of the motions, the flex cuts, the Iverson cuts, the pin down screens? He lets that all play out before making a decision. And it's a very basic flex offense that the Knicks run. And what it entails is, if OG was on the floor, OG and Mikal, they're flashing to the middle. If they're not open, then Jalen Brunson does a full loop around for a dribble handoff. Karl Anthony Towns crashes. It's just, there's so much optionality to it. But everything good happens when Karl Anthony Towns has his hands on the basketball with more than 15 seconds left on the shot clock. That's a given. Incredibly gifted player. And you have to guard him because he will shoot threes, and he's the best in the world at that too. Best in the world as a true center, true big man. And then they started to send that second body at Jalen Brunson tonight, just like they did in game 2. The moment he crosses half court, it's send the second body to get the ball out of his hands. But tonight the Knicks were prepared for it. Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and Jordan Clarkson were flashing to the middle from the weak side block. And Jalen Brunson got rid of the basketball before the double team could even get to him. So if you let a full court press or a half court press get broken in the middle of the floor, you're in deep shit. And how many times did Mikal Bridges just like turn around, see the open space, and dribble into one of those incredibly comfy pull-ups that he loves so much? I thought the chess move by Mike Brown tonight in sending those flashes and putting a emphasis on the timing to make sure you get there early was the remedy, was the antidote to something that Nick Nurse instituted in game 2 that went so well. But they ran out a pretty similar game plan tonight defensively, and the Knicks were prepared for it. Does the Chinatown bus still run between Philly and New York? I would imagine so. I used to take it all the time. Well, not to Chinatown, but like the West Side. Landry Shamet Cesario was really good tonight. Man, did he bank in that 3, by the way, at the end of the first quarter? I think he banked that in. He got downhill. He was fading away, but man, he got to his spots, and the Knicks really needed that half-court offense when Philly was locked in. But they're playing their starters like 40+ minutes apiece right now, with the exception of Embiid, and they just do not hit the same in the fourth quarter. Maxey played the entire second half. And VJ Edgecombe, bro, you can't go up there and bark in Mitchell Robinson's ear when they were hack-a-mitching, and he's like, oh, what are you doing out here? I saw the shit that he was, what are you doing up here? They're about to bench your ass. Just miss the shots and get it over with so you can go back to the bench. And then VJ Edgecombe airballs a 3 seconds later. I'm like, this series is over. Roscoe Robinson asks, Wob, why can't Cat stay out of foul trouble? What can he do? I wish Wolves fan was in here right now. This is Wolves fans. I get it. It's not that I didn't get it previously, but I definitely get it now. How infuriating it is to have a guy this good that cannot stay on the floor. This important, by the way. What's up, Drew? Says late to the stream and just getting in while I'm Uber driving. Salute to you and the rest of the sickos. Goes to the beginning of the stream. I'll see you in 48 minutes and 6 seconds then, Drew. Jish is asking, can you do me a favor and touch the John Wall jersey on Sunday morning for good luck? Do it for me. I'll be in Las Vegas, but I'll do it on my way out. Who do I want to win the lottery? If you don't have a dog in the fight, who should win? I want Utah to win, I think. Golden State would be really funny. Golden State would be so funny, though. It's got to be Golden. For me, it's Utah 1, Golden State 2. Someone in the chat just said Harden has a few bullets left. Harden has a few bullets left? To do what? Shoot like the end of Dumb and Dumber? Harry, you're alive. You're a terrible shot. You too, James. Did you guys see that stat from buddies at the Hoop Collective? Got the second spectrum data from last night's game, or got it this morning from the previous game. James Harden is the primary defender on Detroit Pistons dribble penetration on dribble drives. The Pistons went 7 of 7 when James Harden was the primary defender. Wrestling AEW says Wizards have enough to get a star next offseason if they had a top 5 pick ascending along with Trey and AD. At some point, Kevin Durant's got to go play for the Wizards for 1 year, right? Considering that's his home turf. Can Kevin Durant please do that just once? But he's under contract next year. That's the problem. He can't force his way out just yet. Next year is the 1+1. He has a player option in 2028. How were the Knicks able to suppress Maxey so well? I don't know how to answer that question, but it sure seemed like they were trying to force feed Joel Embiid. This is part of the problem, man. This is why I was scared of game 2 more than any of these other games. I would almost prefer Joel Embiid to be out there because it means less Maxey. It means less Maxey. What do you guys, without even looking, what do you think Tyrese Maxey's usage percentage was tonight? Because this is an advanced box score that is likely available now. Oh, I got it. Let's just take some guesses here. Chat. Usage percentages. Tyrese Maxey. What? 14.7? That's almost the lowest on the team. 44 minutes, 14.7%. For those, like, if you guys want to know what a real percentage is for a high usage star, it's between about 32 and 35 right now in the playoffs. That was like LeBron without Austin Reeves on the Lakers, Kevin Durant on the Rockets, Jokic on the Nuggets. 14.7? Holy shit. Is this full game? All periods. That is minuscule. Yeah, wow. And Joel Embiid, 29.9, 30%. Double Tyrese Maxey. I mean, if you guys were watching me in my either post-game videos or previewing that game 2 here on Late Night with Wob, I have seen the Sixers without Joel Embiid look better against the Knicks because they completely changed their style to pushing the pace, and Maxey's usage goes through the roof. The Knicks do not want to play in the open court, the open floor, even though Stan Van Gundy at the beginning of the broadcast was like, the Knicks like this pace. No, they don't. No, they don't. They are excellent at executing in the half court. They do not want to run with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. In that game, too, the Knicks were almost bent to their will because speed kills, and you're forced to play their preferred style. But this is ridiculous right here. 14.7 is inexcusable when he is by far the best player on this team. Joel Embiid, of course, serves a purpose, but if you're going to slow it down, operate through him, and let everyone else gravitate around him, that's a different style of offense, and it's going to slow down a ton because he wants that ball in the block. He wants to turn and face, and then you just got to work on the timing of Maxey becoming a slasher and a spot-up shooter. Man, you want Maxey in open space getting downhill with the ball in his hands. Yeah, even the YouTube chat, Eat More Taco says, man, it felt low, 21.6. No, how about 14.7? And that's because that's great. The YouTube chat is like, man, low is 21.6. That is low for someone like Maxey. How about 14.7? That's crazy. Kevo says, you got to watch Embiid. He may try and hurt someone knowing he's a sore loser. I don't think he's going to play game 4. I don't think you'll see OG or Joel Embiid for game 4. Just says, I just want the Zards to get lucky once. We got fucked last year. Last time we won the lottery was 16 years ago with John Wall, and boy, have they been in the lottery often. Johnny says, the Bulls need the number 1 pick. This organization needs a jumpstart of blue blood that's been dormant for far too long. The NBA is in a better place when the Bulls are relevant. Fair assessment. 7-8 says, I need that Pacers 5th pick just for the last. So remember, the Pacers protected 1 through 4 and then 10 through. So if it falls 5 through 9, the Pacers lose that pick. But if the Clippers don't get it, and then they traded Ivica Zubats to these guys, and they get Halliburton back next year, the window is open right now for the New York Knicks. I do agree that Joel Embiid is killing Philly. Right now, it's even no matter what his box score says, how their entire offensive dynamic changes when he's on the floor. They're a youthful team when he's not out there. Grimes, Edgecombe, Maxey, even Oubre, man, they can push. Even a Dembona can rim run a little bit for you. Did you guys see Andre Drummond run to the corner, by the way, during a fast break? The funniest thing I've ever seen. I know Twitter caught a glimpse of that. How the game has changed where Andre Drummond is running to the three-point line during an advantage fast break. Guess what happened? No points. 7-8 says the Sixers look good game 2 without Embiid in that first quarter. Back-to-back alley-oops by VJ Max tonight. A prime example of what they can be for years. Agreed. And by the way, Joel Embiid is set to make about $70 million 3 years from now. He's no longer a trade block asset that you would consider a net positive. Like if you're going to trade us Joel Embiid, what are you incentivizing us with? Considering his injuries, considering how much money he makes, and now his effectiveness. We don't see him as a desirable asset. If he made a third the amount of money, of course things would change. But you are putting yourself near the first apron with his mere presence wearing your uniform. Eat More Tacos in the YouTube chat says, today is the 11-year anniversary of Derrick Rose's bank shot against the Cavs, round 2, game 3. This is the last time that they've won a home playoff game. Was that the where he gets lifted up and he has the incredibly stoic face? I think that's the game. Roscoe says VJ's not ready yet, but he will be good eventually. He's a rookie. Like, he's already very impactful, but for sure. The Bulls are a blue blood the same way the Indiana University is a blue blood. By name only. By reputation. Well, no. Not Indiana University is not a blue blood. I guess they are. It would have been more appropriate to say UCLA because all their championships came in the Wooden era. That would have been better for your analogy, I think. Yeah, Derek. Wait, it's not Derek Barlow. Stop confusing me. It's Dominic Barlow. He's fine defensively, but he's unplayable because no one's guarding him on offense. The spotlight gets so bright on those guys, man, that the defense is like intentionally leaving open because we know that he's never even going to look at the basket if he catches the ball. They play off of him, and your offense turns into 4-on-5. They become such a liability. Why do you want the West to be more overloaded? I just think it would be hilarious for Golden State to get the number 1 pick. That's all. Honestly, if you get a top 4 pick, I think you're going to start to see Caleb Wilson ascend the draft ladder. Like, that dude is the perfect NBA player. It would not surprise me in the least to see Caleb go 2, Debonsa 1. Peterson's going to go 3, and then Boozer 4. And then from there, probably, I don't know, Acuff, or depending on needs. Acuff's a little small. But I would not be surprised. Caleb Wilson feels like him and Debonsa are the most ideal NBA players considering their size, build, and skill set. But what do I know? What does anyone know? Nikola Jokic was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. Giannis Antetokounmpo didn't even get an invite to sit at a table. Shout out to Mike Schmidt, by the way, getting hired as general manager of the Dallas Mavericks. He was practically a locust, not with me specifically. He was a YouTube film breakdown commenter who kept emailing Jonathan Givony trying to help him cut tape and produce little compilations or highlights for some of the guys that he's interviewing. Then he ended up getting a job at Draft Express as they worked with ESPN. And then he got hired as an assistant general manager with the Portland Trailblazers for many, many years. And now he's the general. You guys, anything is the limit. We may need to shorten this stream, or it's been an hour, so I shouldn't say shorten, but there is a police chase going on right now. And I don't know if media's on the way, but it is very close to where the choppers are based. So get your questions off right now because I'm getting prepared for a police chase here in the near future. The guy that tampered with Jan Hansen. Well, first of all, the entire department is responsible for that. But of course, Mike Schmidt is named. But he ended up drafting Jan Hansen and it ended up working out. Jish says Caleb Wilson feels like a hyper athletic Pascal Siakam. That would be his comp for me. Pascal is a perfect comp for Caleb Wilson. Just that kind of wingspanny swingman that can create his own shot and dribble, rebound, defend. So gifted. So gifted. Hold on. All right. Everyone in the chat is saying, let's chase CBC. Let me check flight radar really quickly, see how close we are. Okay. It is indeed headed towards the valley. They're on the 101 right now. I can see the helicopter. Airbus helicopter H-125 headed up the 101. No news choppers are in the air, though. But that will change very quickly considering how close in proximity it is to those bases, and they will be able to get on top of it within the next 5 minutes the moment they launch. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. Very imminent. The moment I see a helicopter launch, I'm going to sign off this stream. But until then, I'm still here with you guys. Oh, right. Jish, that UNC team was built around Caleb Wilson. The moment he's unavailable, it comes down like a house of cards in the wind. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't have anyone that can create their own shot. That's just a whole bunch of pieces that were meant to surround Caleb Wilson. Would I trade Brunson and Cat for Wemby? No, but I had to think about it. DeBonce is going to be special. I have a weird feeling DeBonce, and I don't know anything, so don't connect this to Ryan. I don't know anything. I have a weird feeling that the Jazz are going to find a way to get DeBonce no matter what. If they win the lottery or they trade up to get the number 1 pick, they want DeBonce. They've wanted DeBonce forever. They got him to BYU. They got him paid. There's a great relationship there with the ownership group. We obviously know one of his biggest donors was Ryan at BYU. Still going on this chase. Got off the 101. What freeway are they on now? You guys watching on Flight Radar? They're on the 170. Getting even closer to the news choppers. Doug asks, is the Jazz owner a BYU donor? The donor. The biggest BYU donor. How great would that be? I mean, Utah loves him. He's got a fan base already built in there. He clearly enjoys it. He wouldn't have signed. He got offers from everywhere. Oh, right. No, you could talk shit, Jish. You guys won the game. You guys won the game. You get to talk any shit that you want. We're off the freeway now. That's a problem. This opens up the opportunity for the chase to end. We are off the highway. Now headed southbound. No news choppers have launched. You could see a Lowry Markkanen or Walker Kessler paired with the Jazz are going to get a top 5-ish pick. Here, take Kessler, take this pick. We want number one to go get Devontae. I could very, very much see that happening. Now the chopper is circling, which is even worse. Hopefully he's getting back on the freeway. When the chopper circles on flight radar, that means that they're hovering over someone that stopped. And that might be what's going on right now. When was the last number one pick to be traded? We need Helwick for that one. I don't think it's as egregious to trade out of the number one pick as it was during the Wemby draft. Because if you trade down from 1 to 3 and you still get Peterson, you still get Boozer instead of Devontae, I don't think there's that much of an obvious separation. Wembanyama's a once-in-a-lifetime talent. We're back on the move in the police chase, by the way. Am I a Caleb Wilson believer? I would draft Caleb Wilson number 1. That kid is special. The Markelle Fultz pick? Markelle Fultz pick. You might be right, Max. For Jason Tatum. Trade down. YouTube chat got it too. Was Wiggins traded? Wiggins got traded at Summer League, though. That pick had already been made. I remember him playing for Cleveland. Still no news choppers. What the hell? Headed back southbound, too. What are the news choppers up to? Yeah, that's Wilson not being in the top 3 is, I don't know if that's legit. I remember Andrew Wiggins played on the Summer League team specifically because I bet against the Cavs knowing that Andrew Wiggins was being held out of the game. It was game 2. I think he only played once or maybe a half or something. Johnny Football says the number 1 pick has only been traded 7 times on draft night. What's up? Probably not Andy. See you guys over here. I'm reading both chats. Surprise, man. I don't know what's going on with these choppers right now. Is there a marine layer? Maybe it's bad weather. But they are not following this chase. Did I see the reporting on Darren Peterson's cramping issues are resolved? Will that help his status? He wants to be a point guard now that he's healthy. Yeah, sure. He was taking too much creatine. Makes sense. I think Risache can prove he deserved to be the number 1 at some point. He's still got plenty of time. He's got a long way to go. All right. Now we got a chopper. KTLA has launched. KTLA just launched. The chase is going away from KTLA. Got about, I'd say, 5 to 10 minutes before they catch up. So get your chats off now. I'm going to be signing off in 2 minutes to prepare for the police chase. I am Stevie Ray says that creatine excuse is classic bodybuilding forums lore. I've never taken creatine, so unfortunately I don't know. KTLA is humming right now. Flying down the 170. Last call. Oh, K-Cal in the air. Now we got 2 choppers en route. I just spent this entire time telling you to set it and forget it. I'm not gonna go buy a helicopter with the money that I have. I can't think of a worst way to blow it. I will forever live in this one bedroom no matter how much money I have. I enjoy it. Provides me the life I'm looking for. Renting, no liability. I'm a minimalist. Was the draft Paolo went number 1 the one where he thought Chet would be number 1? I think that, and then Jabari Smith Jr. got a look, didn't he? Yep, Romo, we're watching. And now it looks like ABC is launching as well. But the problem is the guy is headed southbound on the 101, and the choppers are still in the valley. Yep, Chris Christie just launched. They either just got off the highway or they're on side streets because the chopper is now doing circles in Hollywood. I remember that MCC. All those lines were like incredibly volatile. I can't imagine some of those prediction markets, what they would have looked like that day. Yeah, Jabari was projected first. Chris Haynes tweeted Jabari was going first. There was a lot of miscommunication going on there. I don't know who set up that smokescreen, but yeah, can you imagine if you took Jabari over Paolo? I guess if you took Chet number 1, that would be acceptable, but Jabari would be a miss. Yeah, I know. Birds in the air. I'm watching. I got flight radar up right now, people. Watching right here. Can you see? See that helicopter? I'm watching. All right. It's starting to get close. So I am going to sign off now. It has been a pleasure. I'll be back over the weekend if there's something major that happens. Otherwise, I will see you guys to talk some more hoops next week. Knicks up 3-0. See you in the finals, baby. It's been a pleasure, my fellow locusts. You guys go have a good weekend, and I will see you on the timeline, or if you want to join us for Birds in the Air momentarily over on Twitch. You got it, Mr. Matt. You got it, Days. Thanks for joining us today. See you guys soon.